Good, glorious evening, everyone. Um, I'm visiting you from a late evening at the office. The last couple of days have really been um, remarkable. We've all entered and hopefully fairly well exited the flu epidemic kind of thing. I have had a personal encounter over the last few days. I think I went through the ordeal quite well, but one of the things that I want to bring to our attention is that I did it totally naturally. I make myself a concoction of garlic, ginger, honey, lemon, and cayenne pepper. I roll the lemon, squeeze it, chop it up. I add some honey. I add about 2 cloves of chopped up garlic. I added about 1 inch of grated ginger, and then could put a nice little serving size of honey onto that. I would take that about at least 3 times a day. Sometimes I would put a couple of tablespoons full of it in a cup of hot water and drink it, sip it as tea throughout the day. Other times I would just take a tablespoonful and gulp it down. um, One of the things when you're going to handle yourself naturally, we're kind of accustomed in this culture to want things that taste good and want things that are easy. So we'll go for the pills. I don't go for the pills. I don't swallow them very well, for one thing. And I think if you tell me something is good for me, I can remember castor oil as I was a child, okay? Followed by a spoonful of honey, okay, by my grandmother. So the natural processes still work. My throat is still a little bit raspy at the end of the day, but the last couple of days I have been able to speak. Most of you who know me know that I have a very kind of soft, tender voice. And so this, I think, might be one of my weaker links, okay? And so first thing happens is I notice that I get a little swelling of the lymph nodes in there and maybe a little scratchy throat, followed by some sinus drainage or some sinus pressure. Okay, so here's where your ginger and your cayenne pepper come in handy, along with the lemon water, which I do the fresh lemon water, warm lemon water every morning. And sometimes, well, especially now with having a bout with this, I'll do the lemon water at night too. So I'm getting lots, and I'm really so fortunate. If you can buy organic lemons, then fine. But I've got wonderful friends out here in Cali, and they'll bring me some just right off the tree, or I can go get it from the tree myself. So that is absolutely awesome. I also leave the rind on the lemon. I take a wooden spoon with this mixture in the jar, and I just kind of pound it down in there, break everything up, mix it all up together. And this was my cough medicine. This was my medicine, okay? The only thing that I did use over the counter was, and I still have most of them, the Alka-Seltzer Cold Plus things, and I would take one of the tablets in the morning and then one of the tablets at night. So that gave me a bit of aspirin and the effervescence. I did notice that this time I had not bought this product in quite a long time, and I do believe that they've added sugar to it because it was really, really quite sweet. That was pretty much my medicine. Now, the other thing that I will do too, and I'll do it in a heartbeat, because garlic is your natural antibiotic. Take that garlic, chop it up as fine as you can, toss it in your mouth, gulp it down. Now, if you can chop it up just a few bites, because it's going to be quite potent, okay? And then, of course, you want to do it sometime before you're going to go out in public, okay? But this is an intestinal antibiotic that is not going to destroy your normal bacterial flow. Um, so this was pretty much the staple. I did actually have some fresh oranges, but from friends' trees, and I squeezed those, and had the orange juice. If you only can get the orange juice from the store, then that's fine. I would suggest maybe adding a little pineapple juice to that to kind of increase the acidity kind of factor. Grapefruit juice works well for me as well. So when you're in the throes of the flu type stuff, and if you're getting the body aches and you need a little ibuprofen or a little bit of um, aspirin or something for the pain. I did not get a fever. However, I quite likely may have, because during the night I woke up a couple of times and I was sweating. So, I'll bottle up in the covers and that sort of a thing kind of broke it out of me. So, I think for the most part, I had two rather crucial days of really not feeling well that I had to, I spent one day, a great part of that day, lying around and in bed and totally out of the public. The next day, I was up moving around a lot more, but I didn't stress myself. And then about the third day, I'm more into a moderate routine. Now, if you have a very, very physical job that requires you want to increase the rest. I drank plenty of fluids. I ate soups and stews. Okay, well, pretty much I took vegetable broth, bouillons. I took, someone gave me a thing of bone broth, and I just added frozen vegetables, peas and carrots. Add a couple of potatoes to that. Totally vegetables. I did not. I got one can of some chicken noodle soup, and I thought, oh my God, this is horrible. This would make you sick. So I guess I'm really, really getting so much into my natural kind of thing that I was not content with that at all. So, fresh fruit, fresh home cooked vegetable soup, okay? Um, and if you're too sick to make it for yourself, call a friend. Ask a friend, can you make me some soup, or can you share some soup with me, or something like that? Because it's just not the difference. It's just not the same when you pour something out of a can. Okay, it's kind of like you're not really loving yourself. Okay, you did the best you can with what you have to work with at the time. Now, one of the things that someone asked me during this thing is, well, why do we catch this? How do you think we caught the flu? Okay, because me and two other very close friends were dealing with this at the same time, and I was a little bit stronger, so I was helping to kind of watch over them and give them some ideas. Oh, big one. I do need to tell you this. My first thing in the morning, I get up, gargle with the with half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of salt in the warm water. Right after that, I take just a smidgen. I use a toothpick actually, and just dip it in the honey and put that in my mouth. While that is dissolving in my mouth, um, I get about 3 drops of oil of oregano, okay, into my mouth. And then I will dip that toothpick or dip another toothpick or even get half a teaspoonful of honey, because the oil of oregano is very, very strong, very potent, and it will give a bit of a burning sensation to your throat. Oil of oregano, highly recommended for, when you're dealing with um, I'm going to say viruses, particularly colds and flus. Another thought to remember is that colds and flus are a virus, okay? And oil of oregano is absolutely known for its properties of healing, antimicrobial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory. I actually have a separate bottle of oil of oregano, and I'll put a bit on my fingers and rub it along my spine, especially along the lower back where I have some low back pain, okay? Because when inflammation begins to settle in your bones and your joints and things like this, oil of oregano applied to the skin. Now, when you're applying it to the skin in rather sensitive areas, like on your back, on your low back, like even around your joints and things like this, you want to maybe dilute it in a little sesame oil or olive oil, or something like that. But if you'll read the label, most of the time you're going to get about 60% of the oil of oregano, and then there's going to be a portion of it that's going to be an olive oil or jojoba oil, maybe even something like that. And I would do that one 3 times a day as well. So you can heal yourself naturally, come back strong. Now, I want to go back to the question of, why do we catch the flu? And some people sometimes catch the flu, some people avoid it. When we're working in the public, where we're dealing with people coming in and out, going, like even our church services where we're in close quarters, if you're flying, or if you're traveling on public transit, or in areas where you're going to be in condensed areas of kind of breathing the same air with people, okay? But to be perfectly honest, the virus grows inside of you. So if you are in optimal health, you can actually be exposed many times without actually catching the flu virus. And I tell people, one of the things is you have to be a susceptible host for any type of virus, okay? Whether it's HIV, HPV, why do some people get things and some people don't? You have to have a susceptible host in order for these things to attach to you and begin to create havoc on your body. So what creates a susceptible host? All right, so if it's wintertime and you've been eating lots of cheese and lots of dairy and lots of sugar, and you're not maintaining a adequate amount of rest, okay? Say for instance, you're burning both ends of the candle, you're really busy, and then there's an amount of stress from work and all these things that you feel like you have pressure, and you get the little sniffles, or you get a couple of sneezes, and you say, oh, I hope I don't catch the flu, and you just keep pressing on, okay? No, at those first signs, okay, you start grabbing some orange juice, you start grabbing some vitamin C supplements, even if you need to, and start cutting out the sugar and the dairy, because the sugar and the dairy are going to create breeding grounds in the gut, okay, for the susceptibility here. Also, in that same gut area, in the area of the solar plexus, is where your metabolism is going to be like probably exhausted. Um, and so that's another area where you can create the susceptibility. All I want to say dis-ease, discomfort, you're going to feel it in the gut first, okay? Right down in the area going to the small intestine, the area of the solar plexus. This is your metabolic chakra, your third chakra, energy, endocrine system area, okay? So when that is not functioning optimally, and then you have these other predecessors going on, like the stress and the overtiredness and the pushing yourself just beyond the maximum of what your body needs, not resting properly. That's going to set the stage, and you can easily catch it, okay? And so cold hands and feet are a sign, okay, of things that are a little bit out of balance. And so you want to pay attention to that. Put on some socks, put on some shoes, and start eating warmer foods, okay? We really should not be drinking iced tea and eating ice cream and snow cones and stuff like this in the dead of winter. Eat your food seasonally for your area, okay? Seasonally in the wintertime, you're going to be getting things like you've probably got quite a few more greens going on, your carrots, potatoes, root vegetables, these kinds of things. And it's easier to make those things into soups and stews, okay? Add a little water, and so then that way you stay hydrated as well. So I hope these tips will help you. And if you haven't encountered, and you know someone who is encountering and is in the throes of this somewhat epidemic, then pass this information on to them, okay? I hope this helps you. And today we're finishing off January 31st already. Month number 1 is gone of 2018. All right? Now, let's get well. Let's get ready for spring. And if you have some downtime, then use that time, journal, focus, okay? So that when you get up after 2 or 3 days of not feeling so well, you're more focused and you're stronger than ever, okay? So, happy 2018. Let's look forward to February and love. I'll be speaking at the center on February 11th, and my topic is boundless love. So, with that said, I bid you adieu. You have a good evening, and remember, I love you all.